Hey, this is Brian with the Seat Shop, and today I'm going to walk you through the install on the driver's side, bottom, top, headrest, everything complete for an F-250 or F-350 extended cab. Now the extended cab is quite a bit different than the crew cab or regular cab, being as the seat belt mechanism is actually built into the seat, and so the design of the frame and the covers and how everything goes on is a good bit different. So we're going to walk you through all that today. So here at the Seat Shop, we do factory matched replacement leather seat covers, so you can replace just a bottom or just a top or whatever's worn out in your truck. We can run your VIN number, pull up the exact color match, so we can match the grain, the thread, the stitching, everything, just like if you bought it from the Ford parts department. So this truck here was actually originally a cloth interior, had an aftermarket leather put in it. Wants to go back to like if it was a complete factory lariat trim, so we're going back to factory lariat interior on this one. So we're going to start stripping this guy apart. There we go. Here's some of the tools that we use here. Nothing complicated, all normal stuff you should have around. We got a torque spit, it's a T27. We need one of those, a Phillips head drive for the drill. We got an extension. I've got, don't need that piece right now. 3/8 drive for the drill. We got a 13 and a 15 millimeter socket. A couple pry tools, a long Phillips head screwdriver, some scissors, real small flathead, and a pair of snips here, a pair of dikes. So first, we're going to pop off this the lumbar knob here on the side. This one here is cracked, but we're going to get another one put on there for it. But what you need to do, spin around here, come around front, easier to show. So right behind the knob, you can get into a couple pry tools, and there's really no other better way to get in there and just be able to pop it off. Sometimes these things shoot across the freaking room, sometimes they just slide right off. This one's going to slide off because it's got a crack on the back side of it. But it'll slide in right. There you go. I flint underneath there. I got another one here. So here's what it looks like. I'm basically just getting my flathead pry tools right behind it on both sides, coming around from both sides, sitting there, prying it off. So that's it. So we'll set that to the side. There's a bunch more, I say a bunch more, there's a couple more Phillips screws on the side of the seat. We got one here, one here, one on your lever. There's going to be one in the front, right here. And there's one push connection tab that's about right in here, so when you grab here and pop, it'll come loose. And slide this forward. There we go. And set it to the side. Okay, now we're going to lean the seat back, and we're going to unbolt the seat bottom from the pan. Okay, here I'm going to need my 13 millimeter and my extension to get into it. Now, like I said earlier, this was originally a cloth interior. So it's had a manual seat in it. If you had a lariat with the, it's going to have the power motors, you got to adjust your seat further forward or back to be able to get to these bolts a lot easier. You can still get to it no matter where it's adjusted, but it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier to get. That way you can get to it with an impact instead of having to come in with a regular wrench and do a cord and turn at a time. So here we got our 13 there, and there's two at the bottom, there and there, with the seat track to get to the bottom ones. But before you unplug your power from the floorboard of the truck, you can, if you have a lariat, unbolt your seats, and then you can lean the seat back towards the second row, and then see if you can get a impact with a socket on it, straight forward and hit the bolts in there. If not, you can move your seat forward or back some so that you can get to all four. Just saves you a whole heck of a lot of time. You got a workbench instead of doing a little quarter turn at a time with a wrench. That really sucks because I've done it a million times. Here we go. Now this manual seat has got this bar that runs across. The lariats typically have just a square plate about like that goes underneath here and there. It doesn't have a bar that runs all the way across, but the manual one did. Set it to the side. Pull this forward, drop the frame, and we get to the bottom bolts. Okay, now our seat panel really just pull right out. Alright, now we got this. We'll set the seat top to the side. We're going to finish up the bottom, and then we'll come back and keep on trucking through the top. And these X-Cap frames, for some reason, are freaking heavier than hell. So be careful when you're moving around, because you really don't want to catch something like that on your shin. So let's get this sucker out of the way. Okay, now bottom cover. Alright, we got our plastic J-clips that run here, and then they hook into the frame here. A couple on the sides. We're going to come in with a flathead or a pry tool. Pry these guys loose. Slide apart. I need to pry it. And go there. All right. Now, we're going to pull the cover inside out, just like this. All this purple crap coming out here is from when this thing was recovered before. There was extra foam or something that was glued on or added to it. But we're going to pull. Now normally, a lot of these F-150s are heated, so you're going to have a heater on there. So you need to pull your old cover off to be able to access the old heating pad, so you can transfer it over to your new. Depends on if you get a new foam, because foam cushion makes a big difference. Having a new cushion underneath there when you put the new cover on there. So if you're getting a new foam, which I highly recommend, you'll need to pull the cover off to take the heater off and transfer it over. If not, just pull the cover off, and we'll show you kind of another way to kind of help revitalize the foam with steam. We'll get to that in a second. So this cover just Velcroed on mainly, so these two seams Velcroed. Then across the center here, it's got these two pieces of material with a plastic flap that comes through, slits that are in the foam. So we're going to pull these up and get them, slide them vertically so they'll go through these holes. Let's pull through. Velcro. Alright, we're going to jump that inside. Alright. So when you're pulling yours apart, if Velcro happens to come off, I'm going to blow all this purple stuff up. There we go. Alright, if it happens to come off the foam when you peel it up, it's not the end of the world. Just get you a can of spray adhesive. 3M makes a bunch of different spray adhesives. Spray that down with glue, let it set up really good so it hardens up, and you'll be good to go to put the new cover back on. All of our covers will have the same anchor points as the factory one. So if you happen to pull the Velcro up, if it comes off and you're taking the cover off, just make sure you re-glue it before you put the new cover back on. So this one here, we're going to actually put a whole new foam cushion on it. So I'm not going to worry about cleaning the rest of this purple junk up and gluing the Velcro back down. I'm going to chunk it to the side. Now, I'll show you another way to kind of revitalize it if you are using your original one back. If a new foam's not available and you got to reuse it, what to do to steam it to get it back up into place a little bit. But let me set this aside and let's move on to a new cushion. New foam is the way to go. Good. Drop the pan. Grab the new cover. So just like the factory, it's got these little fabric strips with the plastic sewn in it. We're going to slide it through these little slots in the foam. Start with that first. Okay, those are through. See how they just come through, turn flat on the back side. So those are hooked on. Now we're going to set our Velcro. Now, one of the weird things with those two paddles that go through the foam and then flatten out is you can turn this thing all 50 ways to frickin' Sunday because it's not a real tight anchor. It holds it down to the foam, but it doesn't keep it directionally set like a Velcro or hovering would. So once you have those on, you really want to kind of set back and look at which way, make sure it's not crooked. Because I mean, you could be 30 degrees off, obviously that's a, over dramatization of it, but make sure this thing is leveled up, centered really good before you start setting your Velcro on the sides. So, there you go. And you can pull, there's a lot of slack you can pull forward and back because of those flaps. So you really want to kind of look and see that the center part of the seam, where the two panels came together, which is right here, make sure that is kind of centered directly over the slit that goes through, because so it's not up here and not back there, because that's 1.5 inches of throw. If it's all the way through here, you're going to be really, really tight at the back, and if it's all the way in back, then it's going to be damn near impossible to hook this front clip. So kind of centered up over that line as best you can, and then when you get a hook in the front and the rear part, if something's just not going, you have to look at readjusting where you've got this thing set, forward or back. It's about centered there, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to push down first right here along where that seam ran. I'm going to set there, and so with my hand in the inside, I'm going to hold that Velcro there, and I'm going to grab the back here. I'm going to pull to stretch. I'm stretching from here to here and pulling that back, and as I keep working my hand on the inside around to set the Velcro back. So it's just, we're not pulling the whole thing back because we're already anchored here. So we're pulling from that anchor point back to get it tightened up. All right, push there, set the Velcro, holding my finger on the inside there, grab the back here, stretch it, and work your way down with the Velcro. All right, so that's there. Just going forward with the Velcro. Same thing here. I'm gonna put my fingers at this seam line here. I'm gonna pull and set the Velcro. There we go. Here, yep. Pull, stretch it, set. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna roll the cover over the corners. So starting either side, it doesn't matter left or right. I usually start with the right, but whatever. Take my fingers along the double stitch. I'll feel my fingers on this double stitch line up in the corner. Okay, on the inside. With my other hand, I'm gonna grab the push in on the foam. So I'm pushing in and then pushing out with the cover and rolling over. okay? It really helps you get a nice tight corner. There, same thing here. Just flip flop, fingers on my seams on the inside, hand on the outside there, hit and roll over. Work our way back a little bit here. Okay, then I'm gonna flip and then set the rear. There we go. Okay. It's not going to look super tight yet here until we wrap around and hook all the clips, but it should look set pretty decent at this point before you flip it over. So, flip it. Get something to kind of wipe this table down with, brush it off with. I don't want to get anything, if there's anything sharp on here or whatever, I'm about to put the new cover flat down on the surface. I'll get the air too. There we go. Flat down. Okay. So this has this piece, this vinyl piece in the back. So you're gonna pull and stretch and hook here. This cover's gonna clip and roll over there. Usually I like to set this back one first. It's usually a little bit more tricky, and you can tell if you're short in terms of where we set the Velcro. If it's too far forward or back, you can really tell here, because if you can't get it to hook here, then you need to undo the cover, unvelcro it, move it one way or the other so you have more slack. So there we go. Whenever I'm hooking the clip, I like to be pulling it towards me instead of pushing it. As I'm pushing it, the frame's not anchored or anything, it's just going to keep going off in the middle of nowhere and drive you nuts. So here you can brace the frame against your body, grab the piece you're trying to hook, and then you can get some leverage to pull. You can also push down with your elbows to compress the foam, which is going to give you more slack as well to be able to pull to get something to connect. So heat also really helps. When this vinyl leather, especially vinyl, heat it up, a lot more stretch to it, you can get it to clip on. So we're going to look here and make sure it's lined up right. That's good. That's good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and try see if we can get this sucker to clip. And these guys are tight, man. They're not, it's not a just leisurely pull it over and clip it. But you don't want to just grab the clip and yank, because you can rip at that seam line. So you want to grab the rest of the body of the material, and you want to stretch throughout the whole thing. So here I'm kind of squeezing the foam and rolling back. Get some more length here. Boom. Same thing here. There we go. These guys will roll and clip and roll and clip. I'm going to do those in just a second after I get this front one on. Okay, so the front clip's a little bit funky. A lot of people may think that it's sewn on backwards, which it's not. It goes on over and rolls completely over and then pushes down. So when it's done, this clip is going to be like this. Okay, so it's going to stretch up. We're going to come over this ledge. So here's where the J-clip hip hooks. So you can see there's a separation right there. This edge needs to go into that slit. So we're going to get that here. Close. There we go. You know you're on. So that's hooked. This piece. So this goes down, kind of like this one, but a little bit in reverse. It's going to go down all the way under and then pull up. So press down, get some stretch, sink all the way to the bottom. And there we go. That's good. All right. Let me just look at my front face. Yeah, it's tightened up nice. Okay. I'm gonna hook these side pieces. Okay. A lot of times on these, because they can slide, there's nothing at the end of the clips to keep it from shifting forward and back. Same with the factory ones. I usually like to take hog ring and crimp it on the front and back. You can run a self-tapping screw through it as well. If you don't have any hog rings, I'm going to take some pliers here and I'm going to run a hog ring. The hog ring is just a big metal staple basically, and it just crimps things together. There we go. Here. Here. All right, on the Lariat edition versus the XLT, on the driver's side, this piece here is normally it has a bar. This bar here would unscrew and go through this sewn loop. Being that this is a manual seat, they ran a little different. Even the Lariat, the driver's side's power passenger side is manual. So the passenger side runs to these type pieces of metal where you clip it onto it. The driver's seat on the Lariat is leather and power, and it has a removable bar that unscrews and goes through this loop. So being that this original truck was cloth from the factory, it's got both bars here just because it's a manual seat. So there's a workaround for this. I'm going to go ahead and hog ring this piece onto this piece of metal. It really doesn't make a difference whether it clips on or if it hog rings. You can pull it tight, ring it on, and the control panel, big plastic panel, is going to cover all that stuff up anyway. So I'm going to feed a little something through this part of the cover so that the hog ring has something to grab onto and doesn't just rip through the vinyl. There we go. Again, if you got a Lariat, you're not going to run into this problem because you're going to have a removable bar. It's got two screws at the front, one at the back. Once you got the cover on, the bar feeds through this loop, screws right back on. Really simple. Okay. Hog ring. Now, this should be pretty good. So, what I'm doing here is I'm really wanting to adjust leather so the seam is really on the outer edge. So, with my thumbs, I'm pushing the slack on the leather. Pushing this way with my thumbs, pulling this way with the rest of my fingers around the edge, and then pushing this way. So now I'm getting this big pinch of leather right here, okay? So I'm basically wanting to move the leather out and bring the foam in. So pushing the leather here, pushing in on the foam there, and then like that. So that gets the seam on the edge where it needs to be, okay? And it gets a lot of the slack out of here See, if you see a bunch of ripples and stuff, usually it's because leather needs to be rolled out a little bit further and the foam needs to come in. Good there. So we're going to set this to the side, grab the seat top frame, keep on trucking away on that. So yeah, let's get, we're going to set this to the side. Move on to the fun part, seat top. All right, so this top is one of the main differences between the X cab and crew cab. So the X cab has the seat belt built into the seat instead of mounted on the frame of the truck. So the whole seat belt mechanism is built in. And the back of the seat cover is open. There's a plastic panel that pops on the back. So a little bit different. Pull this up here. This thing's heavy. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull this back panel off. Now I've pulled the panel off the passenger side to give you an idea, an easier glance of what it looks like to take it off, because none of these are difficult to get off. You just need to know where the anchor points are so you know where to attack it from the back and how you can attack it. Do you just need to pull, or is it a clip that wraps around the frame that you got to push in and walk under the jazz to get it to come off so you don't break the tab? So this one, here's the bottom of it. So this is going to be like this, okay? Here's the bottom. These are the two tabs. So these have little Christmas tree pry tabs you can pry off. So come from underneath, pry these two loose, and then the whole thing will, you can slide it down. And then you've got clips on the two sides, and you can see how they hook there. So this thing curls there, this piece curls underneath there. I'll show you how those are going to come off. But now, you know, the bottom two are pried. You can pull, get enough separation to get to see them. You get up underneath the pry tool and pry those off. So let's start with that. All right, let's see. Forward. Okay, so I'm going to come straight through here. That one just popped out. Just barely push on it. All right, here's the second one. There's that. Okay, now these two pieces, this one's already come undone, but if it hadn't come undone, we'll just, I don't know if it'll hook back or not, but what you can do is push in and out, okay, because the clip is around like this into the frames, comes here and claws in, so push it in and out, it'll release. Those two hooks, and the bottom two, these top two hooked underneath here, but when we undid those and pulled it down, those dropped out, so those are your last two clips. So set this guy aside. Alright. Okay, we can see obviously aftermarket rigged up a freaking string, so I'm gonna cut this off. Factory one won't be like this at all. It'll have a couple clips. So there'll be some clips that come down, hook on here, and across, hook on there. You'll see it when we put ours back together. All this crap out of here. Okay, take my snips. All these hog rings that were hooked on, well, that's not hooked on the frame. Okay, we don't even need to cut those. Pry tool. Unhook the plastic J clips. There. Bottom. Another one here. Another one at the bottom. Okay, then the snips for this. As I happen to hoggering these together. Alright, so the back's open. I'm just going to get these little hog rings that we cut out. We don't want them laying around the table. We certainly don't want to be on the table when we get the new cover on it. Just sliding the cover around the seat on the table and we cut up the new cover. So let's get these out of the way. Okay, so the back's undone, unclipped, except for this guy. Now, take off the seatbelt mechanism. There's going to be a couple screws to it. Okay, on the side here, there's a little cap. There's a little cap on this side too. I'm going to pull the headrest off so we can get to that cap as well. Headrest is going to pull straight up. There's a button that pushes in here. It's easy to get to. The other one's kind of hard to get your fingers into. You can take a flathead or a pry tool to get the other one. So push in on this one, and this side pushes in too, and then it comes straight up. All right, set that to the side. So we got a cap here and a cap here. We got a little flathead screwdriver and pry this little guy out. Okay, set him to the side. Same thing over here. Okay, I'm just going to leave our Torx bit, the T26 or 27, let's see, T27. That's what you're going to need there. Front cap as well. Okay. Pull that seat belt. Seat belt's got a should be a 15 mil. Yeah, 15. At the bottom. Undo this bolt here. Just thread that back on lightly there. Okay, so next panel right here. Pop this little guy off. Okay, set it to the side. Then this cap will come off here. There we go. Feed the seat belt to that slip. Set it to the side. Okay, now we need to get cover off. Alright, the next tricky part is headrest tubes here, okay? So these two pieces here, I'm going to grab the passenger side ones to kind of show you where the clip is on the inside, or the place you need to push on the inside to get them off. Alright, so okay, right here on this side, there's a spot that pushes in. Okay, so there's a little catch that catches in the frame when this goes down in, and you got to be able to push this button in, and then the tube will lift out the top. Now it's not just the easiest thing in the world to get to that clip with a little place to push. This one is usually easier to come from the back side underneath. To push it, you can come from the top side down and attack straight in from here with a flathead and push in and get the pry up. But either way, this is what's holding it in. This is your catch. It's not at the bottom. There's different models. Some of them hook at the bottom. Some of them hook on both sides. Some don't. I mean, there's all kinds of crap in the way they hook these things in there. But this one happens to be just we're going to push right here. And both are the same way. Both have the same clips and they're both facing the same side. So we'll set these over here. And I'm going to go ahead and start pulling this guy apart. So we're going to pull this through underneath. And you definitely don't want to just start ripping it apart. You want to start working your fingers up the anchor points, whether it's Velcro or what. You want to start, if this one happens to be Velcro, push down on the Velcro, the prickly part with your thumb, and then lift up with the cover to separate it. Because if you just yank it, then you're going to definitely have to re-glue everything and get it set. And sometimes you don't want to wait around wait for the glue to set up for it, you know. So just kind of be careful when you're taking it apart. There's not too much repair work. Velcro. Okay, that's off. So now you get to those little push places. So let me see if I can flip this and show you better. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little pry tool. From the back side I can grab this foam, pull it in, and I can get to that clip, or that little place to push in is right here. And I usually get a, so this will work probably. There we go. Okay, so pull my foam up. Get in here, look at that. That's what work. Okay. Push in the center of that rig. Okay. Usually get something to tap it up. There it goes. Yeah, pull it up. Grab it on top and pull it out. There we go. Same thing here. Push that sucker in. That to the side. Now, the cover will come completely off. Get this frame back up. Okay, set this to the side. Now the top foam's usually pretty good. Okay, usually it doesn't get the compression like a bottom seat does from getting in and out all the time. A lot of people think when they're replacing the bottom foam they need to replace the top. It's usually not the case unless something really drastic happened to it, got chewed up by a dog or something like that. You can come back over it with steam it out. It'll help it puff back up a good bit. If there's a chunk missing on the lower back or something like that where your belt dug into it, you can layer some foam in there really easy and it'll fill it in just fine. You'll never know the difference. I'm going to show you what steam's going to do to this real quick. Get that kicked on, steam the sucker out, show you how to do that. Alright, I'm going to show you how to steam out your foam. It's going to make a real big difference on the seat top. It'll basically help swell the foam back out to the way it was originally. So we'll grab this steamer and start going at it. Any kind of garment steamer will work. The first one I used was a $20 one from Walmart. Doesn't matter. It's just getting the steam into the foam. And I go over the whole surface area as best I can. See how much it pops back out. All right, now foam is steamed up. It takes forever, but it makes a massive, massive difference in the outcome of the install. So now we're going to start putting the cover on there. I'm going to take some air and kind of dry out the foam some. Top cover. Alright, so first we need to cut a hole in the seat top for this seatbelt mechanism to go through. So there's going to be a little line on here that's kind of a guide of where to cut. So that's going to give us a good idea where we're going to make our first slit, but then we're going to have to make some cuts forward and back of that as well. But I don't want to cut it wrong, and so what I'll do is I'll kind of test fit it on here. I kind of pull it on, make sure, try to line it up the best I can and see where I can make my cuts. So that way I've got the smallest hole I can have, that I can still pull it down onto the foam, and then I can come back and make some final trim cuts afterwards, giving it space all the way, completely around where the seatbelt's coming through. So to do this, I'm going to throw the seat on the floor, come out front here, so I can stand over top of the seat and see and be able to look down on it. All right, on the top, putting the cover on. The trickier part is getting our hole cut in the top to get down on there. So the easiest way that I've found so far is to have the seat frame on the ground, have the seat belt just hanging down the front, take the cover, and I'm just gonna drape it over here. I'm going to kind of pull it down as far as I can, and with it as lined up as I can get. And you can feel where these seams go because the foam bumps up a good bit, so you can feel that we're all the way there. This one won't go all the way down. We're not going to be able to feel it real well because the seatbelt's hitting here. But we can kind of look through and see. You can feel the double. You see the double stitch here, and you can kind of run your finger down and feel the front of the foam. So the foam kind of starts right here. Make sure they're kind of on the same plane, not too far. If it's too far forward, and the foam's indented in. So if this was too far forward here, the foam's back here. You want them pretty lined up. So let's see. What we want to do is make our initial cut so we can kind of get a window into where the whole seat belt mechanism goes. So that to me is looking pretty decent enough to go ahead and make the first slit. I'll grab scissors here. Okay, there's the left edge. Right edge, I'm going to come in the middle of that. Make one cut. Okay, so now we're there. So there's foam on the back side of the leather here, so I'm going to try to clear out some of this foam. I can grab that foam and kind of pinch and pull it out some, and kind of trim it back a little bit, maybe get a little more of a window down into the frame here. further. Do a little kind of cut forward. So over here. So you can feel the back of the seat belt's right about here, but it goes pretty straight down, so I don't want to cut that far back. Let's see if that cut. I'll pull some more foam out now. See if we can get it. See if we can pull through. Okay, so I'm going to pull cover down. I can feel the front of the foam here, and this, you want this double stitch to be on top of that front flap, so it's a little further back. So I'm going to grab some material in front to pull it down and kind of move it forward. There, it feels good. Make sure that seam is right in here where the foam comes up. Make sure that's there. It's lined up. Same thing here. Okay. Let's see. Just need to make a little bit. Trim a little there. Okay, let's start pulling down on this and see where we're at. Okay. So I'm starting to feel the top of the foam here, so this seam's really starting to line up good. Looks like we're going to have some extra up front. We can probably trim out some so it doesn't gather right in here. See it buckling right in here, so we got a little more tension, so we need to cut some down here to get rid of that buckle. There we go. can see your screw hole right here. And so with the material up there, I want to make sure that I got room to get that screw in real easy. So I'm going to trim down just a little bit, expose that hole. There we go, so good there. I'm going to pull the seatbelt material back out of here now. There we go. So now pull down nice and tight here. Seems laying real nice. I'm not getting much pucker here. A little bit there. I may cut a little slit on that. There we go. Now the front plastic cap comes all the way over the front and in front of these two pieces here. So you're going to get shielded all the way down to that point here. So
Are you talking about in the front row?
Yeah. I think that's looking pretty good. So we'll leave it just about like that. We're going to go and start setting all the Velcro and all that jazz next. And then at the end, we'll come back and do our final trim cuts here when we put the cap on. All right, now we get the trim cuts done on the top. That's at least pulled over with the seat belt through it. We're going to get it back up on the table. We're going to start pulling it down, start setting our Velcro throughout it. So we'll swivel this around, get the blade on its back here. Here. And you can feel, when you come up underneath here, you can feel the Velcro strip. So there's a Velcro strip here. It's our first one we want to anchor down. So we're going to pull down, we feel, okay, throw that in. Okay. And then we're going to hook our Velcro, just pushing it down. There we go. Push down real hard in there, make sure it's set. There we go. Okay, that's all the way across. That's good. Then we're going to work our way down the sides. So it's real important to really pull down on it to stretch it down while you're setting your Velcro. So I'm grabbing here, I'll pull it tight. With my other hand underneath, I can set the Velcro. Same thing on this side. Okay, now we get to the back side. Okay, so now at the bottom underneath here, this has got a big flat little pocket that tucks in on this yellow foam around it. So it's going to go all the way underneath it and then curl up underneath. So hook there, pull the flap from the seat, from the front side, start pulling it through, and then take this flap and we're going to grab our foam. We're going to get it tucked up underneath it. And around the foam. Okay. The same thing over here. Alright. Now, hook this piece. Clips on. Now, these two back flaps are going to crisscross each other and hook on there. So, once we pull this bottom part in, here's our cover for the front part. This is going to pull up and hook onto there. There we go. Okay. And then this little guy here, this little clip. So this foam here, there's a pocket, like the part of the cover underneath here is sewn for this to be inside of it. So you can stick your thumb in here, grab that seam and pull and make sure all the material is wrapped up around and covered up in covering the foam up. There we go. You don't want it spilling out the side there, so good there. Okay. Okay, now this will crisscross over to here, and that one crisscrosses over to the other side, okay? So, fix there, this guy here, fix there, perfect. All right, now, there we go, there's our seat top. So we're gonna come back, make some trim cuts on there, and we'll cut the holes for the headrest plugs. Okay, so first I'm going to grab the cap that goes on here. And feed the seat belt through that slit. And that cap's on. You can see if we need to trim anything else. It's good. Just free the seat belt, it comes out nice. Okay, I'm gonna go and put our screws back in there. That's what we need, our Torx T26, T27, sorry, T27. Back on. There it is. Alright. I'm going to turn this down to low because it's threaded into metal, but you get the plastic cap on it, okay? And when you're tightening it in, you can crack the plastic. So you don't want to just torque it down really hard. So I just turn the impact way down, or do it in by hand, either way. I'm going to do this real lightly. There we go. Side.
Alright, you're welcome.
Plastic caps. Cap. There's that one. There's that one. Okay. Our front plate. This guy just snaps on as well. There we go. This down, bolt on the bottom. Okay. 15mm. So the seat belt's got a little groove, okay? So there's a notch right here, okay? There's a that it goes and that goes here, stuck to the bolt, and hooks into that little nut groove, so it slides in there. And make sure you don't have this thing twisted up, you know. Make sure your seat belt doesn't look like that before you put it on here and take it back apart. So make sure that thing goes in the groove. Make sure the seat belt laying flat. Put your nut back on the side. Yep. Okay. We need to cut our holes for the headrest post to go in next. So you can feel, if you push down, you'll be able to feel the metal tube that these things go down into, and they're pretty far on the edges. And also, if you have your headrest itself, you can figure out when you find one, you can see your spacing where the other one is. So we know they're going to be towards the outer edge. So I'm going to start feeling for that metal tube in there. You can also, if you're not confident with it, I can feel it through there, but if you want to take a long screwdriver, flathead, Phillips, whatever, come from underneath straight up, from the tube underneath, you can see it come through the top of the cover. So here we go. Come straight up to here. So we know that's where our tube's going to be. You can feel it on the frame. You can find the hole as well. Right there. So when I find the hole there, take my scissors with them closed. Don't open them up like that. Keep them closed. Right in the center of that hole. Yep, right there. There we go. Put that right there. Well, then I will puncture through. Okay? And then I'm gonna start cutting a little circle. You got a little bit of room for error because of the cap that goes on there, but you can always cut a little more. Cut your little hole. I try to dig a little bit of this foam out so I can trim some of it out. Okay, my finger down into the hole, figure out which direction I need to continue cutting. If I need to keep cutting this way, that way, forward, whatnot. It's pretty dead on. Just trim it out a little bit wider. Headrest tubes. So the total hole is going to be a pretty decent diameter because it's got to fit this edge through it because it's a little bit bigger here. If you don't, it's going to catch here and push down, and then you're going to see the leather come and it's going to dip down in a hole there. So kind of get an idea where that's going to go. I'm still going to trim the hole a little bit bigger. The buttons that push are going to be on the facing this way. So here's the button on this one. Okay, making sure I'm lined up good. So see how the hole's a little too small, because when I push that down, you can see how the cover's kind of falling down into it. So I need to trim it just a little bit bigger. Foam out. So this foam that I'm cutting is the foam that's sewn to the leather on the underneath side of the leather. So once you can pinch a little piece and kind of pull and stretch it out and trim it out so it's not in the way. There we go. That hole is good. This post will go back in now. Probably. You trim a little bit more. There we go. All right, pushes in. Now we'll do the same thing on the next post. It's back together here. Okay, so good thing about having one post in is you can line up the headrest. So that spike in the middle, you know that the other one's going to be, it gives you your distance already between them. So right here, as long as they're level. So I know where I can start making my trim cut right there. Right there is where I'm going to start. Puncture here. If you have your scissors open when you're doing it, when you poke through and when it punctures through the leather, then the scissors are going to plunge into that, and you can, this side of the blade, it's very easy to nick the leather over here. I've done it before. So have them close together, puncture a hole so you got a hole to start trimming off of. It's a lot easier to do on the ground versus up on a table like this, but I didn't want to move all the tables again, so here we are. Foam out of there. So see the guide in there. So I'm pretty right on the hole. I'm just going to trim it out a little bigger. Okay. Trim some here. There we go. There's that. Okay. We'll put the seat pan together, and then we'll finish with the headrest. I'll put the seat back on too, real quick. Let's do that. Let's go. Okay. So, hook or push from the front. Yes. Guys, we're gonna try to get these two clips up underneath the front on the top up here, which hook there and there. So here. We have to push in and up. Which is gonna be tricky. Lay this down. Okay. Now let's try it this way. Okay, those are hooked. Let's see if we can get our push tabs lined up. There's that one. This one. There we go. Okay, so we gotta make a trim cut in the vinyl. So there's a other clip is right here on the inside of this, okay? There's a metal bar that's running through here, and it's gonna clip under that bar. So we're gonna feel that where that clip is, which is here. And we're gonna make a trim cut. Take the razor blade. Here. Thank you. Cut right through here. Okay, yeah, that's hooked. Pass the other side. That's hooked. Sweet. Okay. That's it. So, feeling for that trim cut. Once you get the bottom tabs pushed in, you know that it's the right level. It's not supposed to be up or down because those are hooked in. You can feel for that clip on the side, and then you feel the metal bar in the frame. Cut you a little slit for that so that the clip can come through the frame to hold on to the back there. So, throw this out of the way. Well, actually, we'll flip this over, bolt the bottom seat back on it. lay the seat down. Bottom cover. Go. Okay, now this is going to be our 13 millimeter bolts. 4 of them. We get our crossbar. Okay, so crossbar goes across the front. Okay, so crossbar. There's little notches here, right at the top. So that comes through here. It rests in place. Right there. Then we'll take our 13 millimeter nuts. Our bolts here. We'll just get them started. Just hand thread. I'm gonna need my extension as well for the 13. Just get these guys started because you're going to have to move it around quite a bit to make sure the hole lines up at the bottom for the bottom 2 bolts. So I'm not going to run them all the way in. Close. There you go. Alright, now through here, the one that we need to drop the frame. So let's hang this off the front. Back. Okay, let's get the holes here. Now we'll tighten them on. That. Now, put our plastic trim on the side. So, this, get out of the way. Where's the trim? There it is. Okay. Phillips. There should be 3 screws. LVCO, 1, 2, 3, 3 screws. There we go. Okay, feed this guy back up. Trickiest thing is going to be getting the recline lever through that hole first. If you need a little pick, you can stick it through here to find the holes for it, but these are pretty easy to find. So we'll line them up there and screw them in. Down to 1, so break the plastic. There we go. Screw. Second screw. Third screw on the front. Recline lever. Let's go to the side. Okay. Push tab, put that in there. Put our knob on the side here, just right here. So there's 3 grooves on the inside, on this side, and 3 grooves on this side here, and you can line them up with the grooves on your lumbar deal here, and then it just pops back on. There we go. Okay. This part of it. Next we're gonna take the headrest off, show you to put the headrest cover on, put that back on the top of your seat. That'll finish up your install. So here we go. Headrests are tricky, they're tight. Taking the old one off, it's a lot easier just to cut it off. Exactly what I'm gonna do here. Cover, new plastic bag, and we got a trick to show you how to put the cover on, because being that, especially this design where the headrest, the top of it's a lot wider than the bottom, so putting the hole at the bottom is still the size of the bottom of the cover, so it's a lot, you got to fit this width into a hole that size. So we're going to put a plastic bag over this, put a shop vac underneath, turn the shop vac on, we're going to squeeze this in and it'll hold its small shape. You can slide the headrest onto it, undo the vacuum, and it fills back into place. So grab the shop vac, we'll be right back. All right, headrest, shop vac, plastic bag, best way to get it on. I'll show you how that works. So with the cover, it'll come with this plastic bag inside of it. So pull this thing out. It's just a clear vegetable bag you get like at the grocery store, okay? So you take the headrest, make sure you know which way is the front, which way is the back. So here's the front here. You can tell by how it's metal poles here, and the majority of it's forward of it. So make sure you got the cover the same way so you don't put it on backwards. So feed the headrest into the bag. Front's still facing this way. Shop vac. Stick the hose up through one of the poles and gather it up around the base there and hold it. And then okay, cover still this way. I'm going to flip on the shop vac, and I'm going to compress the foam. And this, because the shop vac won't suck it down, with the plastic on there, but when you compress it down, it'll hold its compressed shape. So we're gonna turn this on, smash it in, put the cover on it, kill the vacuum, pops back into place. So here we go. Voila. There we go. We'll tear off some of the extra plastic at the bottom, put clips over there, pop it on, be good to go. Thank you, Hunter.
Yep.
Okay, so plastic. Just rip off the excess here. There we go. Okay. This little flaps tuck in across the other side. There we go. So this clip comes forward. This clip has a groove that's going to roll over and go into that channel. So it'll be like this here. Go past it, and then it rolls over, and then clip it. You'll hear it click. There we go, right there. So there is your headrest. Move this to the side. All right, and that, folks, is a 01 to 07 F-250, F-350 extended cab on the bucket seat or the 40-20-40. Either way, this seat goes on the same way. If you got any other questions, give us a shout, 214-710-2565. Check out our YouTube channel for other installation videos for all the different makes and models and different components of the seats. Check us on our website at theseatshop.com. That's it. Have a good one. Thanks.